So I'm so excited to talk all things Ghostbusters with you. So,
Great.
in what ways would you say the most recent film pays homage to the original Ghostbusters that started it all for us?
Well, I think this Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is really as close to the first couple of movies as anything we've done. The last movie, Afterlife, was sort of a re-awakening, just a rediscovery of Ghostbusters and the history. But this movie is full out Ghostbusters. We're in New York City, the heart of the center of the Ghostbusters, and it's just, yeah. It's I think the people who love the original movie is going to love this movie. It's funny, it's scary, it's all those things that we love about Ghostbusters.
Yes. And how would you say that we are going to see your character Winston like we've never seen him before?
Well, I think the filmmakers and Sony especially for. I look over the past 40 years. Winston came in looking for a steady paycheck, and after joining the team, he realized that these things are real. But I think Winston is one of those people who is fascinated by the idea of ghosts. He sees himself as a Ghostbuster forever, but he's done very well in business. He's become a very wealthy man, and he's sort of founded the research into the science behind what's causing these ghosts. I mean, there are the big ghosts that can rip the top off of buildings, but most of the ghosts are there's something else going on that we need to understand that can benefit our lives and make the world a better place. And I think that's what Winston is committed to, making the world a better place. And it's nice to see him in this movie taking that sort of leadership position.
Yes, and I love the take on the golden years
Yeah,
because they look different for everybody,
yeah.
especially Winston. um, and then, so my next question is just when you think of the Ghostbusters family and how you all have evolved over the years, what is the one thing that remains consistent?
What remains consistent is the love for the craft, the love for what we do, the love for being storytellers, the love and appreciation for each other to be able to bring our very best to play, the understanding that we not only do this for ourselves because we love it, but we also have an audience to consider. We have fans who've supported us for 40 years, and we want them to be happy with the results. And we all understand that, and we're all there, not in any competitive way, but just supporting each other to make sure that we deliver the best film that we can. And there are a lot of hands when you're making movies, not just the actors and the director and the producer, but there's the musician. It's thousands of people involved. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping that fans will come away, and the way they did with the first movie, with their families united, as opposed to some film that tears us apart. This Ghostbusters is a uniting film that I think has a lot of love and a lot of fun, and it's a little bit scary, but at the end of the day, we will survive stronger than we started out.
In what ways would you say Ghostbusters, The Frozen Empire, pays homage to the original Ghostbusters that so many people have grown to love and adore?
Yeah, well, I think, it has like a real reverence for sort of like starting the business and like being the underdogs and like fighting against the city. I think, is really important because the original had that. And yeah, I don't know. Also, just like having the original Ghostbusters around, I think like really helped sort of add a sense of that sort of energy that was established in the first two movies.
Absolutely. And then for you, McKenna, how would you say we meet Phoebe at the beginning of this film versus where we're going to be left with her when it comes to her idea of family and that sense of belonging?
Well, we literally like 10 minutes into the film, Phoebe immediately gets kicked out of the Ghostbusters, which is crazy. So it's like she's definitely reeling with that information. And I just was thinking about it, like the connection between her always having a fascination with the spiritual world and having such a connection to ghosts, with her grandfather in the last film being kind of her guiding force and the thing that helps her in the end of the film, to now in this film she has a connection with a ghost and kind of feels very isolated from her family. I think that she has a really great character arc in kind of figuring out herself, but also growing back with her family. I think that at the end of the film, getting to see the whole family come together is very important and special. And I love getting to see Paul, Gary Gruberson, and Phoebe's relationship grow throughout this film. I think that it's really, really sweet, and you can see how much he cares for Phoebe. And so it's nice to see them embrace that.
I love that. And then lastly for you, Finn, talk to me a little bit about Trevor and how we see him grow in this film versus how we met him in Afterlife.
Yeah, I think he's waiting to sort of be handed like the keys to the Ecto-1, and like he wants to be taken seriously more as that someone that can like really do his thing, and is confident in driving and confident in a lot of things, but he's sort of in the same, like in a different way, sort of silenced just because he's also younger, but in a different way from Phoebe. And so I think that he is a bit frustrated and wants to be taken a bit more seriously.
In what ways would you say that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire pays homage to the original Ghostbusters that everyone adores and loves?
I would say first and foremost is the fact that the OGs are in it, and they're in it quite prominently. I know that's really great fun for fans to kind of think about what their stories have been since the film, and this kind of gives you a little bit of an indication of what those stories might be, which is fun. Secondly, we have some the revisitation from some ghosts from the original film, which is always a thrill, I think, for fans. And then in addition to that, I would say what's kind of exciting and new for the fans of the original movie is that we are bringing in some new technology. And I know now that I'm exposed to the Ghostbusters fandom just how much they love the technology. So it's always exciting for us to be able to be a part of bringing that to the universe.
I love that. And then for you, Paul, in this installment, we see you all really navigating themes of family, but in an unconventional way. So talk to me a little bit about how we will see a different side of Mr. Gruberson as he attempts to connect with Phoebe.
Well, I think that he's kind of new to all of this, and he doesn't really know what his title is, because we're not married in the film. And so it's like, okay, we've been dating now for a couple of years. I have moved across the country with the family. How do the kids feel about this? What should I like the kids. I want to get along with the kids, but I'm not their parent. So I think trying to figure out how to be is something is always on Gary's mind throughout this whole film. And so I think the way that we see those changes is that he's trying to be a father figure to them, and not just a teacher.
Yeah. And then my last question is for you, Carrie. Talk to me a little bit about Callie as well, and how she is able to get to Phoebe, because Phoebe is not your typical kid. She's super inquisitive, obsessed with the spiritual world.
Yeah.
So where did you pull from to really make that connection?
Well, I think I love that what's set up in the dynamic is that, Callie doesn't really love science and doesn't understand science. In some ways, it's hard for her to see Phoebe for who she is. At the same time, Callie does understand how hard it is to be a person in the world. She's struggling herself. And she's learned, I think, that she can't push too hard on Phoebe. She has to wait for Phoebe to come to her. And I love that the relationship isn't easy. I think that she's not like a great mom. She's a good mom, and she makes mistakes, and she makes repairs. And I appreciate that Jason and Gil have really continued to focus on the family story as the center of the universe. And I think you see that, ultimately, when your kid gets hurt, you'll always be there. And I think that's what Phoebe learns about her mom too. That when the chips are down, even if they don't relate to each other on every level, they're always going to take care of each other. And I think that's what's moving about the end of the film.